Shopify Rebellion, your king. Bow, Lambo.
And spawning over in the top left, playing for Team Mouse Sports, it is HeroMarine.
Is he playing in a new location? That's is that like his living room / kitchen, or is that a meeting room? It is very difficult to say. It's very minimalistic. I love it.
So in Casa del Gabe, there are many rooms because he needs a big place for a big guy. And this, yeah, I think it's a new room.
It's a new room, yeah. Hard to say what it is. It looks like the living room, or I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the dining room, maybe?
I do know that he moved place, I think like 8 months ago or something. And I think it's to an apartment I've been in a long time ago when somebody else lived in it. But it's a nice place. It's a nice place. But yeah, it's looking fresh. He's also in his cycling attire. So after he does this, he's going to do big gay things where he eats 5 Big Macs and then cycles 100 kilometers to burn it off, but also bulk up at the same time.
That is extremely likely. And yeah, Lambo looking a little bit like a Slytherin. Don't want to get back into that, but you just put it in my mind during the break. You were casting spells for some reason, Ben.
I was lifting you up.
You were literally lifting me up. Yeah. But yeah, to your commentary, as the game is just gonna start pretty standard, to your commentary on Lambo and like how he feels about certain people, like I think a lot of it is just like how he where he wants to be perceived and where he wants to perceive himself within the scene. And you know, I think sees HeroMarine as someone that has been reachable for a while, and you know, he would latch onto a Euthermal that would be a strong point of comparison for him before, especially when Euthermal was at his peak. Yeah, not to say that he isn't, you know, still one of the best European Terrans, but he's certainly not someone that you would think of is in active contention for that top 7 or so, right? So yeah, I think that HeroMarine, Lambo has always felt like, and always had like this thing of like, oh, one link would already fall, by the way. This thing of yeah, you know, like I can lose with him when it's unimportant, but if I prepare, if it's an important match, I'm gonna get him good because I'm better at preparing. I'm better at this. I'm better at that. But you know, if you just look at results overall, he might get the better of me, type thing. You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's always nice because it's hard to judge just yourself. So if you have somebody else that you also judge, not in a negative way, just you know they're good, right? And it's it's a good measuring point. Lambo did opt for a pool first this game, and those were the first 2 links he was sending across the map, which. Yeah, I know you're close with him when it comes to strategy and stuff. An unusual choice against Big Gabe, I'd say, because very often Big Gabe will be very orthodox about how he wants to approach a map, and very often it will be, okay, I'm going to SCV scout and go for a Reaper. And so far, that pool first, as far as I'm aware, didn't really pay off for itself.
Yeah, did he actually SCV scout? I didn't notice.
Yeah, he SCV scouted.
So yeah. Yeah, so I guess once the SCV scout goes out, maybe not up to Lambo to go out on the map anymore, but at the same time, you would expect from the Zerg side of things, if the SCV has scouted, the Reaper will stay back. So cool moves from Big Gabe as well to capitalize, right?
Yeah, Big Gabe, by the way, going for something a little less Big Gabe-like, and by that I mean not super predictable by him. So he's going for no 3rd CC as of yet. And for me, Gabe is the 3 CC Terran. He's a 3 base guy. Like once he's up and running, he's got like 66 workers / 70 SCVs. He'll just go, and he'll have more units than almost any Terran on the planet. But here, I think he's going to go, okay, 3rd CC just a little bit later here, and not placing it at the front wall. That's actually a really big deal. And you might be like, isn't it just worse to not have it wall off? He wants to kind of tell Lambo that he's not doing what he's doing here, because he knows Lambo's good enough to scout him with a Ling at the front. And seeing a full wall off without that 3rd CC, Lambo's going to 100% think he's getting 2 base all in.
Yeah, Lambo is the type of player that can be mind-gamed in that regard because he is so methodical about what information he gathers and what he takes from that information. So we've seen him, we've seen that work against him in the matchup against MaxPax, for example, where he was kind of, you know, being fed wrong information and then making the wrong decisions as a result. He's going to poke in here and going to see that there is just the eBay that's starting to upgrade, but nothing else. So 3rd CC a little bit later for HeroMarine, and Another thing to note in this matchup, I think, Benny, for HeroMarine is as of last year, at least, right, like, or even the previous seasons, he wasn't super confident, and the top Zerg players in Europe, that is to say, Lambo, Cyril, Raynor, Laser, in Europe would all be aware that HeroMarine wasn't super confident going into the late game against them, right? So even Lambo would want to extend games to the late game. And I think that's an important fact, because when we think of HeroMarine, we usually think of macro. And when we think of macro, a lot of the time we're thinking about late game, about like he wants to expand like a crazy man and take it from there. But oftentimes HeroMarine would try to end the game before it got to the mega late game in this particular matchup.
The mega late game, certainly. And, does actually lose that Viking, so he really worked to keep it alive there, but then lost it anyway. And it feels to me a bit like Lambo didn't take the bait. So I don't know what's happened in recent games between these two, or what Lambo sniffed out, but seeing that wall and seeing everything else that's happened, Lambo he knew better. I would love to know what he sniffed out, because that is some pretty 200 IQ play from him to be able to have the wherewithal to just be like, you know what, I know you're not actually going to do what I think you're trying to tell me to do. So some next level mind games going on between these two players, except Lambo has definitely reaped the rewards of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's still 31 links is a pretty good amount of links to have defensively, alongside the number of queens that he made and those banelings that he is morphing right now. But yeah, the 1-1 is going to be finishing promptly for both players. HeroMarine posturing to take advantage of his 1-1, would run into Lambo's 1-1, as HeroMarine has a beautiful tank position in his little gap, which allows for units to transfer over. So that's a really cool move, because it makes a choke artificially, but it also allows Marines and SCVs through. So the links are going to slip in regardless. On the other side, HeroMarine not wanting to multitask, and the links are going to get in regardless, like I was saying, as there wasn't a Marine to block with the tank. And now Lambo inside the natural base of HeroMarine. He's going to look to actually go into the main. I'm not sure that was the right call. I think just killing SCVs might have been a little bit better. On the other side, HeroMarine is going to continue to apply the pressure, but Lambo will disengage just fine.
He certainly will. Gets to see the main base as well and sees exactly what's going off. Lambo very quick to start his 2-2. That's actually a really big deal. It's little timings like that can actually super win you games. Here, the creep spread is kind of getting denied a little bit. Gets to pick off the queen as well that wants to spread a lot of creep here. Starting his 5th base. Lambo just absolutely sticking to pure Ling Bane, which is one of the best ways to play defensively as a Zerg player.
Yeah, one of the best ways to be greedy as well, as you're not going to be investing into extra stuff and you can get away with less gases. As we see on the minimap, for example, Lambo has only taken the gases in his main, 1 in his natural base, 1 in his triangle third, and skipping the additional, 4 gases that he could be taking right now, because he's just going to stay relatively low tech. That means, of course, if you're not mining those gases, you still have 78 workers. The extra ones are mining more minerals, so you have more space to make more links.
Gabe has to be careful about this run by, because that is a lot of banelings coming in. There is a tank well positioned here, and Big Gabe just in the nick of time here seeing it, but Lambo on the pounce, and that's just pure Ling. The Hellbats are fighting queens here. The banelings are dealt with, but no baneling support against this clump of Marines. That is not what Lambo wanted.
Not what Lambo wanted at all. He's going to look to re-engage. The supplies are still very close, and if we look at units lost tab, it's actually gonna start favoring a little bit HeroMarine, whereas before those altercations, it was kind of dead even. So definitely not what Lambo wanted. These medevacs are pretty low on energy, so HeroMarine has to be a little bit careful, but he has plenty to pick those units up and just get away after picking off a couple of creep tumors.
Great snipes on the creep tumors before getting away there. That takes a little bit of focus, but I'm looking at the production tab here, Kat. No 4th CC, 12 Marines at a time. 2 Liberators, a tank. This is kind of a build that I saw Cure do a long time ago where he took out Cyril with it. Super duper all in. Lambo has to sniff this out and realize that, hey, I can't make any more workers for the time being, and what units he's going to be up against. It's going to be so many tanks, Liberators, and so many Marines. This is like a big Gabe special these days.
Yeah, exactly. And it is exactly what I was talking about, right? Like, he's looking to close out the game, especially on a map like this that has a short rush distance. Lambo, however, has made it so that he can actually flank with this beautiful position that he has mined from the drones, and he's going to get a full surround onto everything. On creep still as a launch pad, but off of creep eventually. Lambo will manage to take the engagement, and with that, he's just going to counter-attack, and right now, he doesn't even need to kill Big Gabe. This is a German victory. I guess they're both German. This is a German Zerg victory in any case, as he's going to go into the 3rd kill. All of the SCVs there continue to flood into the natural and main base of HeroMarine. Lambo is in full control. Even if he was to lose this army, all he would need to do is hold, because like you said, Ben, HeroMarine is super mega all in, and 29 SCVs have fallen. It is going to be GG. Take it away, Ben.
And a huge thud around the world is heard as HeroMarine does fall over. And the weight of him obviously sends the Earth out of balance. And yeah, that was really cool by Lambo. And that 2-2 as well that he had, he literally waited for it to finish. His 2-2 finished quite a bit before HeroMarine's, and he just pounced and boom. Those Marines no longer that good against the Zerglings. The Banelings got damn juicy connections, and yeah, a bit unusual for HeroMarine to go for that in that situation, but maybe he felt that his early game just didn't pay off enough. Because, you know, say if you do try and trick your Zerg opponent and they don't fall for it whatsoever, it can feel like, oh dear, everything's going really bad now. But Berlingrad is a Terran, well, I want to call it a bit more of a Terran map. Terrans tend to like that more in this map pool. I know Cyril doesn't mind it and such, and Sarah's obviously a big deal. But we move on to Glittering Ashes. And this one, definitely a bit more of a Zerg map, if I am to say so myself.
I joined the wrong game. Hold up. Yeah.
It's all right. We'll make mistakes.
Yeah, but the thing about that is, like, I think for me, the beautiful thing on the side of Lambo was that he actually mined both of his minerals. You know, the little mineral patches that actually lead down the ramp of the main to that open space where HeroMarine was heading up. And that made it so that he could flood very unexpectedly and still use the creep as a launch pad, which is something that a lot of Zergs try to do, right? Catch your opponent barely off of creep, where your units are still going to encroach as fast as possible, and then, you know, if they are paying attention, maybe they can spread, etc. But it is before the terrain is set up is the more important thing. When their units are still clumped up, when you can still get that surround and their units are not super spread, the tanks are not all sieged, right? Like, they're not hugging the walls that they want to be hugging, etc., etc. And I think that that's all allowed by Lambo taking down those two mineral patches and just pouncing on that opportunity. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, me too. I in general, I thought a lot of the play from Lambo that game just hashtag made sense, you know? It was Big Gabe trying to do a lot of the sleeky sly stuff, such as selling a different story to Lambo, and he just didn't buy it for whatever reason. So I don't know if he's tried it before, or whether Lambo just felt that what he was going for anyway isn't the best. But the overall, like, he did get a scout in, sort of. But yeah, just these little things, like the Viking dying when he tried to keep it alive, and it just felt like it wasn't tip-top level Gabe. And maybe Gabe is relaxing. I can imagine if he was streaming right now, he'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm top 2 anyway. Like, it's okay. Don't want to reveal strategies. Like, his brain's on holiday a little bit, kind of thing. And, you know, I do understand that, but you still don't want to be giving away series at all. So I think he's really going to bring it in this next game.
I mean, I can almost guarantee that if we were to have an interview with Lambo after the fact, if he was to win and there was an interview, I'm not sure that there will be. I'm not sure what the plans are really for the broadcast. But if that was the case, I think that he would say something along the lines of, I knew that Big Gabe was going to do this. And he would tell us why. Big Gabe is a streamer as well, right? But I feel like Lambo probably came in with extra information prior to the game, as Big Gabe can be a little bit of an iterator as well, right? Like, he's not someone that's going to necessarily switch up his strategies all that much. So Lambo probably had a read going into it and knew just off of small signs, like when Big Gabe does this, or if he has like a single eBay at the front of his base or something weird like that, he usually goes for this.
Oh yeah, certainly. All right, let's get into it.
Lambo.
Yeah, let's get into it. Spawning over in the bottom left as our red Terran, it is Big Gabe.
And the man who knew, in the top right-hand side, it is your king, Lambo.
When you said the man who knew, I was like, huh?
The child who lived.
The boy who lived, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, Kat, you just can't help yourself.
I was not looking for that, Ben. I think it's just your...
Yes, you were.
Mind.
Yeah, by Slytherin mind, you can't help yourself. Yeah. You really can't.
I can't. All right, like I said, Ben, I might be a Slytherin myself because I clearly can talk to snakes.
Oh, nice.
Damn, double burn.
Damn, yeah, I didn't know where that was coming from.
Got him.
That was brutal. All right. Okay, so this game, HeroMarine did not SV scout. So thinking about, Lambo going for that pull first in game one. Hey, maybe he is kind of cluing into how HeroMarine's been playing recently, because he's obviously a guy that streams a lot. I know before that massive result in Katowice, when, things were going well for Big Gabe. They're never not going well. But, he can be like, oh, yeah, I'm more of a pro gamer or rather a streamer these days than a pro gamer. It's like, yeah, right, Big Gabe, you just won $40,000 at Katowice. Oh, come on.
Come on.
Yeah, you are right that sometimes he can be showing a lot of what he actually does in tournaments on his stream. And he'll be saying that he's not, but we all know that he actually is. And yeah, it definitely feels like Lambo has clued into that a little bit. Obviously, it's nothing that really is a super deficit to HeroMarine, because you can play TVZ in the most textbook way possible, and you can still out-multitask and outpace your opponent. And HeroMarine here is going for a far more standard build this game, and it will be the 3cc off 1 gas.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, I mean, to his point, I guess, on he doesn't always show what he's doing on stream. I think it's pretty easy for any player watching to discern what it is that is legit play and not. Like, I've seen him, for example, play against Disc, right? And then he'll make only Hellions. It's like, yeah, I don't think he'll be pulling that off in a tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, those games are really funny.
Yeah. And he's good enough that, he pulls it off often enough.
Yeah, that's the ridiculous thing. It's like, did you see when he went 12 Ghost Academies against Bly?
I didn't see that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. Because it was because Bly was doing one of those things where Bly stayed in the game, and then Big Gabe, just being Big Gabe, was like, I'll show him. It's just amazing. Oh, but anyhow, this is lining up to be a proper macro test between the two. Like, no super mind games going off so far. HeroMarine doing a build that is fairly greedy as far as Terran openings. If Lambo did decide to do a roach push, those weird 10 roach timings, Big Gabe would have been in all sorts of trouble, because going for the Viking and not a Liberator or a Banshee, definitely problematic. But the Viking allows him to clear out a lot of these overlords on the map where Lambo would like them to be. Helps deal with the Hellions, obviously knowing where they're coming from, but also clears up space for that future Liberator, which, just a nice overall opening from HeroMarine.
Yeah, and I love that as you're saying that, if for anyone that's paying attention to the minimap, as Ben is making that point, all of the overlords are kind of retracting back to Lambo's vicinity of the queen, so that they can be covered by the queens like we see on screen right there and then. Because otherwise, this Viking is awfully dangerous, including the overlord that is on the high ground here or on the dead space. But the Viking's still going to find it, and I don't think that there's a queen in nearby proximity to actually save it. It's going to be really close. But this is important as well, because while Lambo scouted what Big Gabe was doing, he didn't necessarily see or know that it was a Liberator or, say, a medevac. So this is kind of a dangerous spot, and that is where Big Gabe is putting the prioritizing for clearing the Overlord with that Viking. So whatever it is, Liberator or medevac, you can expect that it will be taking that route, as we see the Liberator now angling there.
Yeah, certainly. I do like where Lambo's put the Spore Crawlers. Nice. A little bit of a drone killed on that 4th base location there, so that is delayed a little bit. This Viking continuing to be annoying, and right now it doesn't really think it can get these Overlords, but it's about using your opponent's attention against them. And so this Viking, the Viking dies. Hellions are cleaning up creep. Liberator in a really nice location here. That Spore Crawler could have been further down, which definitely would have helped on damaging it going by, but it's hard to keep up.
It is hard to keep up, and it seems like the Viking dying might be a mistake from Big Gabe, but I think he knew that the Viking was going to die, and he was just happy to kill the Overlord, because he identifies that the Queens also don't have the transfuse. So that Viking ends up killing 2 Overlords, and more importantly, ends up doing its job. And the 9, this is huge. This actually pocket is huge, and Lambo King is just going to tap out. And yeah, I'm glad you yelled about that one, Benny, because that was a crucial moment. But yeah, I like the Viking suicide, didn't you? It's a weird one. It's a weird one to trade a Viking eventually for an Overlord, but it had already done its job.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't need to let it die, but he focused on all the right parts, which there was 23 drones dying by the end of that. That was how you use Liberator, by the way. Just constantly trying to lull your opponent's attention elsewhere. And I said at the start that HeroMarine's going to bring the heat, and he did that. Death by fire. muchos fire from those Hellions on all those drones. And yeah, I'm not surprised Lambo tapped out there. I know there might be somebody in Twitch chat being like, hey, why'd he quit? He was dead as a dodo. Just really nice to see that it's going to come down to 2K Atmosphere, which when it comes to TVZ is a pretty damn good battle station for both of these two to duke it out. And I'm happy that it's not 2-0 either way between these two, because they both are some of the best of their respective races.
Yeah, we were definitely hoping for this. I was about to ask you and be like, yeah, I mean, we definitely want everyone's behind HeroMarine in this last game, just because we definitely want this to not be a 2-0, right? Like, we want it to go the distance. And it has been both kind of dominant games on either side. And in that sense, it's been kind of unsatisfying because we haven't gotten that brawl. But that's a little bit like what the Showtime Clem was like leading up to that big macro game. And if we're gonna have a big macro game, or at least a more mid-game to late-game oriented game, it has to be in 2K Atmospheres out of the map we've seen so far. Yeah,
definitely. Berlingrad. In fact, a lot of it's been kind of sorted out by HeroMarine choosing which openings he's going for, like the kind of trickster opening or the very standard opening. I hope he does something kind of standard, and we get to see how it really lines up, and Lambo being a little bit more prepared for it. Very curious as to why Lambo, I don't want to say allowed to let that game slip out of control, but whether he feels like something in particular went super wrong for him to allow it to go. You know what I mean? Because you don't normally see games really go awry so quickly and so unforgivingly, but that's StarCraft 2 in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to really look at the snowballs. It's very easy to mess up when, again, like first Overlord goes down, right? You were not probably accounting for that to the Viking. Second Overlord also goes down. I don't know if there was a supply block or if, you know, how much attention Lambo put there to his queens, etc. And then the Hellion ran by to close it off. Like a lot of different things go in the way of Big Gabe there. So it was a very exciting, fast-paced game, but we are in the last one here in 2000 Atmospheres, and in the bottom left-hand side, it is for mouse sports for something like 12 years or something. It is Big Gabriel.
And spawning over in the top right, representing the Shopify Rebellion, it is Lambo, and he's laughing his head off at something. I'm not entirely sure what.
Is it? Oh, he is. That's very interesting.
Yeah, something happened where he kind of face palmed a little bit, and
I wish we could rewind.
Me too. Damn. I was too busy watching the game.
Same. No chance. Niall, did anyone check it out? Like anyone of our friends? Or of our invisible friends, if you know what Lambo's laughing about, let us know. But yeah, I doubt he's in a call or something like that. That would be too chill. There is a little at stake for him in the sense that, you know, like I think if he wins this, he still finishes first, right? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Ravi or CG can tell us, but I think so, because I think he would have the head-to-head against HeroMarine, and I think he would be even in map score, but I'm not 100%.
I think he needed to win 2-0 to have a chance to finish. I think so. Like, HeroMarine's map score was really good.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But I would love... you know what, cats? Given that we're on 3-minute delay, I'm gonna check out in... In fact, he's
laughing.
Yeah, something's happening.
He's talking with a laser or something.
Are you sure? No, I don't think.
How could I be sure? I mean, actually, I could kind of check. No, they're not in a.
He's 100% taking this focused and serious, you know.
But he's kind of talking with someone, no?
No, he's
to himself, perhaps.
I mean, maybe. You know what?
Maybe.
I remember when Neeb was super damn good, like when it came to the foreign scene, like he was dominating. He would very often talk to himself after losses.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Neeb does do that, but Lambo's not known to do that. Cyril does. Yeah, Cyril does mumble to himself sometimes. Maybe it's a thing. We should start doing that.
Maybe Lambo's evolving.
Oh, he's reaching that next level. This is a good sign.
It's a very good sign.
Yeah, I like
Damn.
I like how you painted this picture where you said when Neeb was at the top. So like he doesn't talk to himself anymore. He's fallen from grace.
Yeah, he no longer talks to himself. He's
That's why.
he's devolved.
It's so sad. Well, this Reaper's trying to do what it can. This Queen does very successful at dropping the first 2 creep tumors actually very far forward. So good on her.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just looked at the build that Big Gabe's going for. This is one that was super popular during the Romanticide days, which is 3cc into 2-1-1 afterwards. A lot about that control of the creep, running forward with like 4 to 6 Hellions, along with, like, let's say, a good 15 or so Marines and the medevacs and whatever. You can either do like a Hellbat follow-up or just a very, very nice 2 medevac follow-up. But it's a nice build for just getting in your opponent's face immediately. But Lambo wouldn't be Lambo if he didn't scout super damn well, and he sees everything.
He sees absolutely everything. So he should have full information here. This 2-1-1 opening is happening. And very sort of Maru-esque, but also with a, like, not a regular 2-1-1, of course, with the Hellions out on the map to control the creep, perhaps. Lambo has a good perimeter of Overlords as well set up, so he's going to see most attacks coming from every which angle. These Hellions are not the exception. And yeah, I mean, what do you want to see here from Gabriel, Benny?
I just want to see quite a few Marines get out on the map with this, with probably 2 medevacs. He's doing exactly that. It's just a nice tempo build for getting things going. For a while, this kind of was the go-to for a lot of Terrans out there. Now, you have to be so damn fast, because some of the ways that this falls behind, I suppose, to the very generic 3cc into Starport, is the fact that your upgrades are a lot later. But he's still getting decently quick upgrades. His engineering bays are done as the Evo chambers start, so he's not too far behind in that regard. But also, given that it is so predictable as to what's going to come for the Zerg can drone up to the very limit, which means they can also be quite greedy against it.
Absolutely. So Lambo has only added an additional 4 links in case there was maybe a couple of Hellions added, in case there was anything like that. But now he's going to start looking to add on more links, as he should expect at 530 plus that the medevacs are going to arrive at some point, and he should be careful. Like you said, Lambo is lagging behind in upgrades, and right now in unit production mode, that is going to further stall the upgrade. So it's going to be a much bigger difference than we've seen in previous games. First Overlord will get taken down alongside a lot of creep, perhaps a path that is carved for later. 2 Banelings already getting taken down before the Queens are on site. So HeroMarine actually going after all of the Banelings. This is already incredible traits for the big Gabriel, as he does find that extra Queen that was exposed without energy, and we could be in it for another very quick GG here, Benny.
We could be. There's only 1 Baneling left, and boom, it's sniped out of the skies here. And 1 medevac also does fall, but that's quite a lot of Queens that are falling. HeroMarine behind this, by the way. You can tell he's a little bit angsty here, even throwing down an extra Reaper, which is a little bit of an error, but dropping down extra barracks. He's going for tanks as well, and Armory does start up in damn good time for getting his 2-2 on the go. But Lambo, that Queen count has definitely been shattered, basically. That's going to stop the creep spread a lot, but also it's going to mean that his defenses aren't quite as strong.
Yeah, and the creep had already been stalled and continues to be, as the next creep tumor gets picked off here from Big Gabe, offering him a little bit of a path forward. That last inactive creep tumor is still going to be there, so that's something to work with for Lambo, and he still has actually an active creep tumor that was missed towards the front of that base, and that is kind of like a saving grace, because if it wasn't there, then Big Gabe would have such a strong follow-up push. And again, like you mentioned, it is very difficult to allocate extra energy from those Queens into any creep right now, because not only did he lose a bunch of Queens, he lost all of the Queens with energy, because Big Gabe was so good at target firing those.
These Banelings managed to get kind of behind enemy lines here without being spotted. And I'm not sure if there's anything at that 3rd base of HeroMarine to deal with, but you have to be pretty quick at reacting. Lambo kind of revealing himself before the Baneling speed, so HeroMarine can get away.
And actually going to crash just into a couple of SCVs. On the other side, there's not many Banelings as a result, and with that, Lambo with his 4 Queens, he's going to struggle to clear this. The link flank is nice. The Banelings looking to connect. That could be wonderful for Lambo King. He actually manages to somehow dislodge this, and he somehow also has that lead in terms of supply, Benny. So Lambo making some miracles happen here. If that baning run by the way, had been timed like you were suggesting, maybe just a few seconds after as his baning speed is finished, I feel like a lot of those connect, because a lot of those barely didn't connect. So a few oversights, but it doesn't seem to phase the German Circuit at all.
I only have one question on my mind, Cats.
What'd it be?
Did you call Lambo kinky?
No.
Oh, sounded
Lambo
like it.
Kinky. Lambo King.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lambo Kinky. That's a good one. I'm not sure what his kink would be, though.
Me neither. Oh, he's German. Leather.
Leather.
Of course.
For one of our casts, he did have that the German outfit, the beer drinking German outfit. I'm not sure what that would translate into, but it does have the suspenders. You know, suspenders
like the Oktoberfest jobby, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
I mean, suspenders can, you know.
Is it a kink?
I'm sure you can. No, I'm sure you can do something with suspenders.
I mean, you can do a lot of things with a lot of things.
Yeah, these queens, however, cannot do much off of creep. They can't even transfuse. So one of them is going to get picked off. The next one also before it arrives onto creep. And that was, again, 2 full energy queens. Make it 3. The last one without energy, but I mean, it's still a lot. Big Gabriel keeping up in the supply. Has to be really careful here. There's the launch pad off creep that we were talking about earlier, but the banings this time around are not going to connect, and the links are not going to be able to commit onto the tank either. So Big Gabriel with a lot of momentum heading into this base of Lambo King, who has been cleared off of creep and off of queens. And what is a king without his queens?
Lambo Kinky finding it hard to keep up with Big Gabe at the moment, though. Big Gabe putting on pressure on multiple fronts. He seems to be accumulating his forces on the left side, but a lot of these fights haven't been going Lambo's way.
Yeah, let's see what these tanks are going to manage to do here on the side of Big Gabe. Lurkers on the way. Lurkers could look to stabilize things for Lambo, but it's going to be difficult. They are about to spawn, but only one of them will get picked off before he even gets a chance to hatch. The next 3 are going to move on forward with the rest of his army, so a lot of the army just buffering to make sure that those lurkers do end up burrowing. And with that, and with the siege units being taken down, Lambo will regain the space to actually stabilize on that base and continue in this game, which is, you know, something that seemed unlikely just a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago.
And HeroMarine's response to all of this is not the... Oh, in fact, I was about to say, I didn't see the Ghost Academy. I just saw the 3rd factory being done, and I was like, wait a minute, that's really courageous. Just go like pure tank, but he's getting a lot of ghosts as well. That is already an extreme number of lurkers. HeroMarine's going to have to be careful. He's not careful, Cats!
He's not careful indeed, but now with the tanks, at least he has some shelling to do here. More queens being remade. Can we look at the queen lost tab here? As relative to other units, I feel like that's going to be an unusually high number at 11. Jeez, H. That was the end of that. I can't say Christ. Can we say Christ? Maybe we can.
Of course you can.
Jesus H. Christ.
I mean, you said Lambo Kinky earlier. You can say anything, man. All right.
I mean... All right, these lurkers are going to look for some space out on the map. They will take down the tank that is their biggest predator, as now the Marauder, next in line for the title, is going to go down as well. So Lambo has to be careful. One of those lurkers gets burrowed in range of the planetary fortress, but now it is the most natural predator of the lurker in the way of the ghost that is going to be on pursuit, and these lurkers will get taken care of.
Yeah, that's quite fortunate as well. HeroMarine getting a little bit of confidence here, a little bit of breathing room, and 8 ghosts on the map now. And he's been denying a 5th base for so long. In fact, he's probably going to be able to take his 5th a little bit faster than Lambo, which is really cool. And Lambo does get his upgrades going. Got +3 armor. He's got adaptive talons done. He's got seismic spines done for these lurkers as well. But the lurker count definitely has been, well, at least half. He's only up to 9 again, which, yeah, he wants to get more out if he can, but he is supply blocked for the time being. 8 overlords on the way. He went full Miko. Ha!
And yeah, I mean, that definitely overkill, as he's already at 200 supply. Those tanks are not sieged, Ben. I think that's what your OOing refers to. And a lot of the army of Big Gabe is going to have to be evacuated via medevacs. On the other side, Big Gabe is going to take a very important mining base of Lambo. So Now he is going to have to take a base of his own to try to equalize, and that he's going to be able to do so. Very nice job from the king,
Wow.
but it's not going to be enough in his mind.